everybody, it's Keri, one of the librarian lunch ladies. And unfortunately, we are kind of self-isolating, quarantining during the coronavirus, and I don't have my buddy Sarah, but I am cooking from home, and I do have a helper. My husband Matt might be popping in here to give me a hand since I don't have Sarah. Today we're going to do a quick and easy paella. I am using a recipe roughly. I'm kind of basing it off of this recipe, but what I did differently is that I used already cooked meats. The recipe I will put up with this video is using uncooked meat. So a few days ago we had beautiful weather here and we grilled out. So we grilled shrimp, we grilled tuna steaks, we grilled sausages, and we grilled chicken. So I have all this meat left over, and I was like, let's do a paella. My husband and I love paella. Our children will not eat it, but you guys already know that my children don't eat anything. They'll be having chicken tenders again today. Mom win here. You could use the chicken. I'm going to just use the tuna steaks, the sausages, and the shrimp. You could use pretty much anything. If you have like leftover pork, you could use it in there. If you have like cod, more of a flaky fish, you could put it in right at the end, or salmon too if it's already cooked. This recipe also calls for mussels, but I don't have any mussels and I'm not going to go to the store to get any mussels. But you could definitely put those in. You could probably even put in like canned clams or frozen mussels or a frozen like seafood mix. Kind of whatever your heart desires. Paella you can just kind of make the way you want it to. The reason I am following a recipe in this particular recipe is because I'm using brown rice, and my very smart husband made a point that you should find a brown rice paella recipe because brown rice cooks at a different length than arborio or white rice or any other kind of rice. So I was like, oh, good point. So that's the recipe I'll be attaching to this video. So the first thing we're going to start off with is I have put oil in my Dutch oven. This is a Dutch oven paella recipe. We will be putting it in the oven, which is nice. So I have some oil in my Dutch oven right now, and I cut up a whole red pepper into strips that are roughly 1.5 inches wide. I might not have did that perfectly, but we're just going to go with it. So I'm pretty sure that my oil's heated up here, so we're going to put those in. Probably could heat up a little more, but that's okay. We're going to put those in, and we are going to saute them until, on here it says the skin should blister and turn black, but I don't really know if I'm going to do that. Again, this recipe is kind of just a guide for me. I think what I'm going to do is just cook the peppers. So we're going to cook those for like 3 to 4 minutes, maybe a little bit more, and then we're going to transfer them to a plate. So I'll be back once those are cooked. Okay, I'm back. So my peppers smell really, really good. You can probably hear them too, they're sizzling. They're cooking nicely in here. So in just a minute I'm going to take them out, and then I'm going to add my onions and my garlic. And then I'll let those cook for a little bit, and then we'll add all of our other ingredients. So again, I'm kind of doing this with what I've got here. Since it's a quarantine quick meal, I don't have everything perfectly. Like this recipe is going to call for saffron. I thought I had some, but I don't. I'm not going to run out and go get saffron. So I'm substituting it with some paprika. And like again, I said that I already cooked all the meat. So this recipe that I'm attaching below has you cooking the meat. So it will take a lot longer. But if you follow the instructional video, it'll take you a lot less time, especially if you have leftover meat. So I'm going to take out my peppers and I'm going to set them aside. You don't want them to get too soft because you're going to be cooking them in with your rice and stuff, which will cook them more. And they do have some nice brown color on them. see. They're not blistered, but I like it. So you take these out and you transfer them to a plate. Okay, yeah. All right, so now I'm going to actually add a little bit more oil. And I'm going to put in my onion first. So this was about one medium onion that I cut up. It's not super helpful. Oh, whoops. Not super helpful, but helpful enough. So just cut up a medium onion. I diced it. Up. All right. So, whew. I'm going to turn this down a little bit because it's supposed to be over medium heat, and the peppers were over medium-high heat. So peppers medium-high, onion medium. And we're going to cook those. Ooh, the brown from the peppers is really coming up on the onions already. So we're going to cook those, stirring frequently until they're soft. So the bottom of your Dutch oven from cooking the peppers should have some nice brown bits on the bottom, and that's really going to come up with your onions. It's going to help flavor your onions. It looks really nice. See how it's kind of brown from the brown bottom? Oh, I should have told you this before too. So you're going to want to preheat your oven to 350 while you're getting all this stuff ready. Mine's already ready. My oven doesn't take very long to preheat, so even if you forget, if you remember during this time, you'll be fine. All right, so my onions seem pretty soft. So the next thing we're going to add in is the garlic. Thank you. Matt put 8 garlic cloves. I used 8 garlic cloves. Put them through our garlic press for me. That was very nice of him. Thank you, Matt. So next we're going to put that in. And we're going to cook until fragrant. Just about a minute, it says, so sounds good to me. All right. And then the next thing we're going to add in here is our tomatoes. Sorry, I had to read the recipe. So the next thing we're going to add in is our tomatoes. You're going to use 1 can of diced tomatoes, and you want to drain it. I'm going to turn it down just a little. So now we've got our tomatoes in, and it says we're going to cook it until the mixture begins to darken slightly. So just cook it for a little bit, not too long, not too long. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stir in the rice, and we're going to let it cook with the rice for just a couple minutes. So you're going to want 2 cups of brown rice for this recipe, and I did go buy like a giant thing of rice, so I have a bunch of rice, so this is great. And at this point, Matt, can you please open the wine? I would also enjoy a glass of wine while I'm cooking. Because I'm cooking at home. I'm not cooking at work. So I can have a glass of wine while I'm making this dish, which involves wine. So that's what I'm going to do. Anyways, so where we were was we had added the tomatoes, they darkened. Now we're going to put in our 2 cups of rice. And we're just going to cook it really quick, kind of like, I think, like toasting it a little bit. 1 to 2 minutes here. And then we're going to start adding our broth and our wine. If you didn't catch that, I'm having some wine with my meal, or while I'm making my meal. I'm going to use white wine. I did chill it first because I would like to drink some of it. So we're just going to stir this rice in, coat it with everything, let it cook for 1 to 2 minutes, so very quick. The next thing we're going to put in is our broth. And we need 3 cups of broth. We're also going to put in our wine. We're going to do 1/3 cup of wine. We're also going to put in our seasonings at this point. Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome.
So that was 2 cups. I need 1 more cup of broth. All right, and 1/3 cup of wine. So we are using Pinot Grigio. And this is actually like super cheap wine, but we drink it we drink it normally because we don't buy expensive wine. And it's pretty good stuff. Okay, we've got our 1/3 cup of wine in there. We need a bay leaf. Everybody has these laying around, I swear. I have a whole giant bag that I don't know if I'm ever going to use them all, but I get excited when things call for bay leaves. Then I can use one. 1 bay leaf. So most paellas use peas, but I don't like peas, and I didn't have any peas, so I'm using frozen corn because I like corn and we have it.
Is it up here or down there?
It should be right. It should be right in front of your face, right there.
Yep.
Okay. So we're doing some salt, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, but I'm just going to give it a little zhuzh and call it a day. And we're going to increase heat to bring it to a boil. I'm also going to put in, this is where you put in the saffron if you have it, like 1 or 2 threads, but I don't have that. So, like I said, I'm going to substitute paprika, which I think is a pretty good substitute. I was looking at other paella recipes and they did say, they did call for paprika. So, I'm going to put in, I don't know, what do you think, Matt?
2 teaspoons.
2 teaspoons, according to Matt. I like it. Sorry about that. 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika. It smells wonderful. It should really complement the smoky flavor of all the meat that we have since we grilled it all outside. All right, well now this has to come to boil, so I'm not going to bore you while it's doing that. I'll see you in a little bit. Cheers, I'm back. Things are boiling over here. So, now that it's boiling, I've stirred it a little bit. Don't want it to get stuck on the bottom of the Dutch oven. So, I had some mushrooms that I had sliced up and left over. So I'm actually going to put them in. And I'm going to put them in now because they're raw and they need to cook. So I'm just going to toss those in. So if you had another vegetable that you were interested in putting in there, but it was raw, I would put it in at this time. As far as the frozen corn, you want to make sure that you've taken it out. It's 1/2 cup of frozen corn or frozen peas, whatever you want to use. It needs to be thawed so that you can put it in when we take it out and then put it back in the second time. So, I may need your help again, Matt. So I stirred everything up, turning off my burner. Put my cover on, and we're going to stick it in. I'm actually going to have Matt put it in the oven. Look at that. He didn't even use hot pads. Now, I wouldn't recommend that because you might hurt yourself. But apparently he has no feeling in his hands, so it's okay. All right, so we stuck it in the oven at 350. We're gonna bake it for 30 minutes, and then we'll be back. So go have a glass of wine or whatever while you're waiting. Okay, so it's been half an hour, and we're ready to take our paella out to finish it up, and then stick it back in for the final 15-minute cook. Woo, it's warm in here. Oh, it smells really good though. Okay. So, ooh, Matt, you gotta come get a little load of that. That looks really good. Whew. Okay, so then I'm going to add our meats. So what I have here is some chopped up sausages, and there's shrimp, so I'm going to put those in. And then on my cutting board, I have the tuna steaks that I cut up, so I'm going to toss those in as well. Kind of spread them around on the top of the paella. And then the recipe says to spread the red peppers in a pretty little flower pattern. Whatever. I don't have time for that. I'm just gonna put the peppers on the top and sprinkle them around. Spread them out. Not the one that fell on the photo. And then I'm gonna take my corn that is thawed for the most part here, and I'm gonna sprinkle that on top as well. My mitts back on. Okay, 12 more minutes on the timer, and we'll see you in 12. All right, so it's been 12 minutes, so we're gonna take it out and see what's what. See how it smells good. I smell it, I smell it, I smell it. Ooh. Oh man. Smells great. So you want to come on over here. Basically, it just heated up the meat, cooked the corn, and the peppers warmed back up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to take a little bowl and take a bite and see how it tastes.
Cilantro.
I will put the cilantro on, Maggie. Just hold your horses. Jeez. I'm gonna use it as a garnish. Okay. This looks and smells amazing. Now there's not a lot of corn in here because it didn't call for a lot, so you could add more. But this was fun for me. So I'm gonna grab a bowl and give it a try. Stir it up. See how that looks awesome. Looks like paella to me. Okay, so I'm gonna put some in a bowl. I'm gonna take my cilantro that Matt nicely cut up, put a little on top. You could also cut up lemon wedges and squirt a little lemon over that. It's really good. And the shrimp is nice and warmed through. Perfect time, that 12 minutes in there. So good. I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me, Keri, one of the library lunch ladies, and my husband, Matt. Thank you so much for being my helper. And this has been Quarantine Quick Meals. Have a good day, stay safe.